Hi everybody, I'd like to tell you of when I heard the second half of the story. Now, behind my house is a deep valley. And right in the back of that deep valley there's a waterfall. And below that waterfall is a deep crystal clear pool of water. And growing over that pool of water is a rowan tree. And at the end of the pool there are stepping stones. And on those stepping stones there often is a wagtail. Now in Wales it has a much better name. It's called the Shigiddygut. Now I often like to sit next to that pool of water. And I like to listen to the water pouring down the waterfall and the wind in the top of the rowan tree. And I like to hear the song of the Shigiddygut as it hops from the stone to stone. Now often, when I'm sitting there, I slowly drift off, half asleep, half awake, listening to the noises all around me. Now in Wales, we call that being in the thrall of the Talwch Teg. Now the Talwch Teg are Welsh fairies. Now I don't mean like Tinkerbell, because she doesn't exist, she was invented by Disney. No, I'm talking about real fairies. And they're not all nice, in fact most are a bit grumpy and some are actually completely and utterly evil. They're like the Avankdi that lives in the deep pools of water in the valley bottoms and drags children to their deaths when they walk too close to that river after dark. They're like the ogres that live on the mountain sides. They're like the slivery things that hide in the dark places, in the cracks and the caves high on the mountains. There's even one called the Gellinan that watches you as you walk through dark, quiet places on your own. I'm sure you've all felt them. Now there I was one day, half asleep, half awake, listening to the noise of the water pouring down the waterfall and the wind in the top of the rowan tree, and the noise of the Shigiddygut hopping from rock to rock at the bottom of the pool. I was deeply enthralled by what was about me. And then I heard swearing. The worst swearing I've ever heard in all my life. And I was wide awake listening, and it sounded like this. Get me out of this beep, beep, beep bush. I beep, beep, beep bush, beep bush. And I looked around straight away, and the swearing was coming from a gorse bush on the other side of the pool from me. And the swearing was just flowing from this bush, like the water flowing down the waterfall. Beep, 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 hey, beep, beep, gorse, beep, bush. Get me out of beep. And I was like, oh, stop that straight away. I don't like the swearing, I said. And with that, I stepped across the stepping stones and I got over to the bush. And I put my hands in the bush and I opened it up. And inside the bush, there was this little fella. He was about that tall. And he had a hat on that made him that tall. And he had pipe cleaner legs and pipe cleaner arms. And he had a little green waistcoat on with silver buttons. He had a massive scraggly beard and it was all tangled up in the gorse, and he looked at me with his beady little eyes and he went, get me out of this beeping bush. And I was like, right, that's it, I've had enough. I said, stop swearing or I'll leave you there all night. Okay. And so I reached in and I grabbed him by his beard and I untangled it and I picked him up and I put him down, and he looked at me and he went, you have got a wish. And I was like, yes, get in. I said, yes. Brilliant, because you see, I knew who he was, and I knew for certain that when you rescue a fairy, when you rescue a member of the Taillocht Teg, they pay you in a wish. Now, I don't know what you guys would have wished for, but in those days, there was one thing that was so important. Today, if I had the wish, well, I don't know. There are families to wish for. There's lots of people in the world that I think I'd wish for. New mountain bike, maybe? But then, in those days, there was only one thing that I would wish for. And without hesitation, I wished for a fairy story. Now, I don't mean, you know, like, princesses in towers and dwarves and things like that. No, I don't mean like that. I don't mean that sort of fairy story. No peas and princesses, mattresses or anything like that. No. I wanted a story told by a member of the Taillocht Teg. A real fairy story. Anyway, alright. And with that, he took a leaf from the rowan tree and he rolled it into this mug shape and he dipped it in the water and he said, drink that. And so I drunk it, and then woof, I was flying through the sky and there was all sorts of rainbow colours everywhere around me, and then suddenly I was back next to the side of the pool. And when I thought I'd got half a story, the little devil, he'd played a trick on me as they do, and he'd only given me half a story. What's the point of half a story? I'll tell you. One half a story from Ireland, one half a story from Wales comes together in the greatest story that I have ever known. And I'll tell you that story the next time we meet. Bye.